I'm here making a video very briefly to show you what add-ons I use in World of Warcraft version 7.32. I've been putting off making this because I wanted to make sure that every add-on I use is one that I'm sticking with. I've been experimenting with a lot of different mods and I didn't want to make a video missing a mod that I would add later or including a mod that I was going to remove because I wanted to slim down. I was using too many add-ons and I'm trying to also be more resource efficient and just use the ones that I really like. Here we go. Here are my add-ons. Okay, first, Overwatch Sounds. Not a must-have, but I really like it. It plays random Overwatch sound effects during certain, like with certain emotes are detected in the game, or certain things happen, like battle res. It's just fun. It's fun. Uh, Sorry about that. Anyway, NPC scan. I tried Simple Vignette, which just gives you an alert when it detects something that triggers the Vignette system, but it's not nearly as good. NPC scan is more resource intensive, but I find it's so good. It works for older rares that don't have the new Vignette system, and also I like it because it targets the mob. It doesn't just let you know that they exist, so you can find them by using the focus target on the minimap. So it's kind of really useful, even though it is a bit of a hog. Beardley's Diablo Orbs UI is a UI overhaul that makes your interface look like Diablo. Um, and it's really nice. There's another Diablo UI on the I was going to say the Nexus on Curse, uh, but I like this one better. Coordinates, very simple. All it does is tells you your XY coordinates on the map, and when you move on the main map, the big map, when you move your mouse, it also shows you XY, so you can kind of figure out where you want to go if you're trying to find particular coordinates. Bagnon, it turns all your bags into one giant bag and also makes your vault one large bag. I've kind of avoided using it for a long time, but it is really useful. Um, and it also makes your bag, uh, like the bag pane, movable, unlike the in-game one. And it is really great. It's something that I wouldn't not use now that I've started using it. TMW, or Tell Me When, is probably the most important add-on, and I dare say I don't know if I'd even be able to play WoW without TMW. It lets you. It's kind of like weak auras, but I don't like weak auras. I use TMW to help me with my rotation and to figure out when certain things are going on. For example, lets me know when there's a spell I can interrupt or something like that. It's very useful, very helpful. Kind of a must-have. Absolutely a must-have for me. Is Tell Me When. I can't play without it. Tomb and Teleportation. It's a very nice quality of life mod. It because every expansion Blizzard's been adding more and more ways to transport and teleport yourself. Plus, engineers and mages have always had all these different ways to portal. So, Tomb and Teleportation is just an add-on that scans all your character's ways of transporting yourself and puts them all together in one very accessible little button so you don't have to hotkey macro and look in your bags. Really nice. Transmog token, very simple, very useful. What it does is when you hover over transmog tokens from old gear, it lets you know if there's actually an appearance that you could get with that token that you don't actually have, and it even tells you where to go to find the vendor if there's a vendor for it. So if you're transmog hunting and you do old content a lot, a transmog token is amazing, and it's very lightweight. I like it. Scrap. There's a couple of different add-ons like this, but I'm using Scrap on and off for years. Scrap is a simple add-on that will automatically sell your garbage when you click on vendors. It also can repair for you, and you could tell it whether or not you want it to use guild repair or not, and it's very programmable but also very simple, which I like. Wardrobe Helper is a nice simple transmog add-on that will appear under your appearances, and it just helps you keep an eye on your sets, your different gear sets, and what parts you have. There are lots of like transmog add-ons, but some of them are very complicated and require like setting up and stuff, and a lot of them also uh, are all encompassing. And I wanted something that's very specific, just for like gear, not for toys and mounts. So I really like Wardrobe Helper. Tiny DPS meter. There's a couple different meters. People always argue about whether you should use recount or SCADA. And there's that other new one. Well, fuck them all. I say be different. Use tiny DPS. It's not the most efficient. It's not the most accurate, but it's super lightweight. And I don't give a shit that much about like you know perfect numbers. I'm not worried about the nth percentile, and I'm more for I don't do dungeons, not raids. And I'm not worried about like healing and all these other meters. So if you want something super lightweight, because resources matter, I like Tiny DPS. One of my favorite just for fun add-ons is Kill Them All. It plays random audio files uh, from the old gods and Lich King and like when you have the Shadowmourne or the priest legend, the artifact dagger. It collects all those crazy like whispers, and you can set it like how random you want it to play, and it's just fantastic. It's really fun, just really fun to hear it. If you're a streamer, it's even more fun. But even if you don't stream, it's really nice. And it's just Kill Them All is the base one, and then he added like two add-ons, like one just for the Lich King and one for Zalatoth. So it's three, but it's really just one add-on, and I really enjoy it. Personal Loot Helper is really really good if you do a lot of pugs or if you do a lot of Mythic Plus. It just lets you know if you get something that's an eye level upgrade for someone else in your group and it's not useful for you, or if anyone else in your group gets something that's an eye level upgrade for you and it's not for them, it lets you know. And you could also have it like let them know, and it shows you on the group icons who got it to make it easier to whisper them. Really nice. Some LFR groups hate the spam. It spams in raid chat, but you can disable that aspect, and it's very helpful. And I know eye level is not everything, because there's stat weights and stuff. So for power players, keep that in mind that you can't always go by item level, but it's still really useful, and I really like it. Mappy is a mini map overhaul. There's a couple of different mods like that. There's another one that's really popular, but I don't. I like this one because of the way that it manages your mini map buttons that also go on it, and I like how it's really big and square because for me I wanted to make the mini map larger to make it actually more useful, not just prettier. And Blizzard doesn't really let you as far as tracking things, but it does let you make it larger to see the actual the geography. And I just like the square one, so it's called Mappy. You got mail. Just a little fun thing. Whenever you get mail, it says you got mail, and there are a few other like it has options if you want some other voices to play, but it has the classic AOL you got mail sound. It's just fun. I like it. Okay. This add-on's really really useful. If you're a tank, really really useful, and even if you're not a tank but you PvP a lot, also very useful. What it does is it lets you know if the healer in your group is being attacked, so you can rush to defend them as the tank. But it also lets you know if a monster or what's it called? A enemy player is a healer. So like in a battleground, you see who the healers are super easily, and you could target them. Target the healer! Target the healer! You get this icon above the head. So it's actually kind of versatile. It's great for killing healers, and it's great for protecting your healer. Also, in dungeons, when there are mobs that heal, it puts the icon on them so you know which mobs to focus on. Very useful. The only downside is that If it's like an AoE that hits everybody, it still lets you know the healer's being attacked, but there's nothing you can do. There's no enemy. It's just like raid damage. So you gotta keep that in mind. But it's very useful. I like it a lot. Error filter, quality of life add-on. It lets you hide some of the stupid red error messages because they literally drive me crazy. So if there's certain messages that pop up that piss you off, you can disable them. Really nice add-on. Can I Mog it? Very, very nice, simple quality of life add-on. It just adds a little thing on the tooltip for gear, letting you know if it's an appearance you can learn, if you've learned it, if you learned it from a different item, or if you don't know it, but you can't with this character because you can't use that gear, so you can send it to another like character or something, and it also shows it on the vendor menu. Very nice, very nice. It's called Can I Mog It? I think there are like some huge, like all-encompassing add-ons for like transmog that might do this also, but I like smaller, more niche add-ons that do like little things. So I like it. It's really nice. It's called Can I Mog It? Very very useful. Say my name. It's quality of life. It's fun and it's kind of important. What it does is it gives you a raid warning if anyone says your name anywhere or if anyone emotes at you. So if you're not paying attention, you got a lot going on, or maybe you got your friends whispering you, you got guild messages. It'll let you know if anyone says your name or interacts with you. If like a horde player bows to you, letting you know they don't want to attack you, and you won't notice. But with this, it's a raid warning saying so and so bowed to you, so you know they're emoting at you if you wouldn't notice. Very useful. Very, very simple, very small also. Bonus roll preview. Not super necessary, but a great quality of life add-on. All it does is when the bonus roll for like loot comes up for seals, coins, whatever, you just click it and it shows you all the actual gear you could get if you roll. So, yeah, you could open the dungeon journal and try and figure it out yourself. It just saves you a bit of time and it's just fun. And it really is light on resources. Bonus roll preview. I like it. I'm always using it like, oh, what drops here again? Specific, and it shows you specifically for your spec, your class, what you can roll. It's very useful, I think. Time is valuable. Cursor trail is I don't know. I don't know if many people would want it. I have problems with my eyes sometimes in WoW. I have problems focusing like between foreground and background. And when there's a lot of action going on in the game, I lose my mouse cursor sometimes, and I don't know where I'm at. So what the cursor trail does is it leaves like a little sparkly trail behind your mouse, so you don't lose your mouse, and it looks pretty. And it is adjustable. You can make it more like translucent, or you can make it like super crazy effects everywhere. But if you have any sort of eye issues, or if you just lose the mouse a lot, I find it's actually really helpful. Guild roster manager, only useful for officers or guild leader, but it adds features to the guild management pane and also adds a lot more information because the built-in guild controls are very inadequate in the game. I believe that if you're not an officer, but if you have it, then there's like extra information that is shown to the officers. But I haven't really been able to test that feature yet, so I don't know if it's worth making like everyone have it or if it's just something for officers and stuff to use. But I find it helpful because I'm the GM of the guild right now. Order Hall Commander, I tried living without it. It is actually pretty heavy on system resources, unfortunately, but it's a pain in the ass. Blizzard has made missions so complicated between the different troop types and specializations and counters, and getting that 200% is so important on a lot of missions. You kind of need something like this, and it definitely works really well. It doesn't just let you know how to get 200%. It figures out like the best way to get 200% on multiple missions. Like it looks at all the missions and your dudes, and it tells you like which dudes to send to different missions, so you can do multiple missions at once with maximum efficiency. It really, really is powerful, which is probably why it's so resource intensive. And I did try doing it myself, but it just I don't wouldn't mind doing it myself. I don't know, I suck at it. So it really is great. Pet leash is only if you're serious about pets. I'm definitely a huge battle pet collector, and I have a lot of super rare battle pets. What Pet Leash does is it just will automatically summon your pets, so you don't have to keep resummoning them whenever you like fly and zone. And also, it has a feature where it can automatically switch pets at a certain interval, so you can show off your like a whole collection of your favorites, and you pick which ones it chooses from like just to summon randomly. So it's really fantastic if you're into pets. If you're not into pets, it's worthless. If you're into pets, it's fantastic. It's called Pet Leash. I love it. Pet Battle FF Victory. It's a pet battle thing. It's just for fun. It plays the Final Fantasy theme song, the Battle Victory, when you win a pet battle. I love it. I love it. But if you don't care about pet battles, or if you don't like fun, then I wouldn't bother. Battle Pet Daily Tamer is really useful. Really useful if you're into battle pets. If you're not, just ignore it. It helps you see where the dailies and the legendaries and which one's up and which ones you've done and everything. Really, really useful, especially because now you gotta like hunt achievements and you gotta like fight certain dudes with certain uh, groups. Definitely love my Battle Pet Daily Tamer. New Openables is relatively new, and it's also relatively new for me. But now that I have it, like I'm never gonna get rid of it. It creates a button, and it automatic you just click the button and it automatically opens anything that can be opened in your inventory. Now that Blizzard's been adding more and more things you got to click on and activate. And I know in BFA they're going to make it so the AP automatically gets used. You don't have to like use it, but there's still always going to be things to open and combine, And I like new openables. It's very useful. It's a nice button. IS Toast is quality of life and just fun, but I really recommend this one. If you get it, you're gonna love it. You know those pop up messages for like achievements and stuff. It takes that and it makes it for loot. So whenever you get gear, it makes like these toasts appear and it makes you feel awesome. It's just really cool. I don't know. I like it. It's really really fun. I know some people only want add-ons that are like really useful, but I definitely recommend this one. I think once you try it, you're gonna love it. It's really really good. It's called IS Toast. It totally changes the way you pick up loot. It's fantastic. TinyPad, again, it's crazy, but I love it. Uh, it creates a notepad in the game that you can save notes on, which kind of sounds silly, but also is really useful. It is so useful when trying to remember where things are, or like remembering like what you want to do for the day in WoW, or like a list of people you hate, or just notes, just anything you want to write, and it saves it. It's very lightweight. It's so useful. I love it. I love it. It's called TinyPad. Yeah, you could open like a notepad file and alt tab or whatever, but it just feels so good to have a notepad in the game. I would recommend it a lot. Money display just for fun. You probably don't want that. Uh, it puts a little counter that shows your gold on your main screen, and you can move it, and like and it actually like you see it changing. Like it's not static, and it's just fun watching your gold go up when you sell a bunch of auctions and stuff. That's just for fun. Auctionator is such a hog of resources, really, but I can't find anything that's more lightweight. I've experimented with some other stuff. I found things that are bigger, but nothing that's like super lightweight. Well, there are other things that are lighter, but they don't do anything that I need. The auction house is such a piece of shit in the game. You need this add-on unless you just want to suck at selling and buying. You need some sort of auction add-on. You don't necessarily need this one, but you do. Like so yeah, I use this one. I like it. Blizzard Nameplates threat is amazing. It's kind of a must-have if you tank. Um, there are there are some issues in the base the game UI and design, like huge issues that are so large that I understand, Blizzard's like you can mod whatever you want and use add-ons, but it's like some things should be in the game. So one of the issues I had, because when I got into tanking, is trying to see the threat of all the different mobs, and it's really stupid how hard it is to see on the fly where your aggro status is at with multiple enemies in the game. There's like really no good way to do that, and it's crazy to me. A lot of people use tidy plates. I don't like tidy plates. It's just so much like setting up, and I don't like the default, and I don't like the way it changes the nameplates, and it's also really heavy. This is amazing. What it does is it just takes the built-in nameplates, the health plates, and it just colors them based on aggro, like what Tidy Plates does, but it leaves the in-game plates alone. So it's super lightweight and it has like pretty much zero setup, and it works really well. So if you tank, maybe even if you don't tank, but really if you tank, like it's really just for tanks, but it's called Blizzard Nameplates Threat. If you don't have anything that alters the nameplates in the game already, and like because you just want to keep that aspect, you want to leave that alone, and you want aggro management. This is great. I have DBM and I have the Arnold Schwarz. I can't say his name without making it sound bad. So Arnold. I have the Arnie voice pack. It's actually really fun. I like it a lot. Um, I actually gave money to the because it wasn't updated for a long time. The guy came back to update it, and he had a sob story about I think his father passed away. It was actually really sad, and he's had issues. I felt bad, so I actually I didn't get. I didn't give him a lot or anything, but I did get. I've never actually donated to any add-on people before, but I'm like, you know what? I want him to keep updating it, the voice pack, and I don't know. I felt bad, so yeah, I actually so yeah, people do give to add-ons occasionally. But yeah, so it's the Arnie. Gotta be careful. The Arnie voice pack for DBM, it actually is really really nice. Because the built-in voices for DBM are really boring. So I use the Arnie voice pack for DBM, and of course, you have to have DBM. Um, wait, where is my DBM? Did it disappear? Oh, there it is. I'm an idiot. Yeah, it's lower. But yeah, you don't have to have DBM. You could use bigwigs or whatever the heck. I like DBM because I tank also, and well, I'm an idiot, and I like DBM because it tells me what to do. Like I don't like there are add-ons that tell you like what your rotation should be. I hate those. That's too much. That does not feel right. But I hate how some fights of ridiculous mechanics that there's no way you could know. That you have to have prior knowledge. I don't think that you should ever have to have prior knowledge. You need to know how to play your character, but you shouldn't like why you have to have prior knowledge of a particular encounter. And DBM just makes it so it has the prior knowledge for you. That's the way I look at it. And it's kind of it is a must-have. It's heavy also on the resources, which is an issue. If you like to be more independent and you want something a little lighter in resources, you can get bigwigs. Bigwigs is also pretty good, but if you don't have like bigwigs or DBM, I don't know how you're gonna you know to get anything done. Unless you're just I don't use mods, which are some crazy people that I refuse to use then fine, you don't use any add-ons at all. But if you're going to use add-ons and you don't have something like DBM, then I don't know, something's wrong with you because like you're already using add-ons. Some sort of encounter assistant is a must-have, right up there with Tell Me When, in my opinion. You don't have to use DBM. Like there's big wigs. I think there's like little wigs also. I'm not sure what little wigs does, but gotta have something. Anyway, immersion is a really nice quality of life. Again, it's just for fun. Um, but it makes such a huge difference. It changes the way that NPCs talk to you to make it more of an RPG, more immersive. Uh, it kind of pushes you more to pay attention to quest dialogue. I mean, if you don't give a shit about the story or the world of WoW, well, I have no respect for you, and I don't know why you're playing an MMO. Just play Counter Strike. But whatever, it's your game. Do what you want. But if you actually care about the universe, uh, this is a great add-on. And if you're in a rush or if you've done a quest already, you can skip through. Like you can still like accept and complete quests really fast. Because I do understand that sometimes you're in a rush, so you can still do that. But when you actually want to pay attention, it makes it look really nice. It's amazing. It's called Immersion. There was another one I tried called something the wind, catching the wind, but that one was a little too much. It was a little too immersive, and also it was kind of buggy. But Immersion, I think, is good. Saved instances. There are lots of add-ons to do things like this, but I don't know, a lot of them they do too much, they do too little, they're annoying. Saved instances, it gives you a button, you just hover over it, and it really easily shows you what raids you're saved to. It shows you if you killed the world boss, if you got your coins, and it's very, very modifiable. So it does like everything that kind of it has lockouts and is time sensitive. It helps you manage it, and it's versatile. And it's also very lightweight. I like it. It's called Save Instances. Raid Achievement Filter. Um, there are a couple different mods that help manage achievements, but some of them are really heavy, and I don't like them. So this one, I like it. It's really lightweight and it's very, very simple. It just when you enter a raid, you open your achievements, and it lets you sort uh, by the achievement in the raid that you're in, and it shows you the ones that you don't have and how to get them. And I like it because it's very simple. There's another one that's similar, but it's very heavy. I mean, if you're super serious, I guess that one's better, but I like this one because I'm trying to save some space. Rep Helper is a little buggy, but it's also really useful. Um, since Blizzard started the Paragon stuff, and I actually kind of like the Paragon stuff. I do. I don't like that you get a mount, and because mounts are like too important to leave to random chance with the Paragon chest that you can't get easily. That was stupid. But I do like the idea of reputation mattering after Exalted. I actually think that's really cool, and it makes being a human not worthless because now that 10% reputation bonus is actually really nice. And the thing is, like the reputation UI in the game is really outdated and debated. And now that they added this Paragon thing, it's just really a pain in the ass. So what this mod does is it kind of redesigns the reputation bar and makes it really easy to see where you're at for Paragon and which ones you've earned so far. Also, you can click on a group and you can have it show you what you need to do to make them like you more and stuff. There's another add-on that does this also, but I don't like it. It's much heavier and it's ugly. The only problem with Rep Helper is it's a little buggy. Sometimes when it's like instead of rep going up, it says rep went down, but that's just only like in the chat box. It's working everywhere else, so it's not a big deal. Talk less. It's just for the talking heads. Those talking heads get so annoying, but a lot of add-ons for the talking heads make it so that just makes it so they go away. And I don't like that either because sometimes they're interesting. So I like this mod. It's called Talk Less. What it does is it makes it so you only see each talking head once. It like saves all the talking heads so it knows which conversations you've heard and it doesn't replay it over again. So you can hear everything once, which is really nice. So you don't miss anything interesting like for story and stuff, but it never plays the same exact, like for world quests, you hear every single world quest dialogue once and you never hear it again. Dungeons, same thing. So it actually is really useful because I want to hear everything. I do. I'm big on that stuff. I don't want to hear it over and over and over again. So I like Talk Less. Rematch, really fantastic pet battle add-on. It lets you save. Basically for like fighting different AI NPC pet masters, you could save each NPC master different pet battle groups. So when you go to fight the same guy again, you can it remembers which three you used successfully, so you don't have to worry about trying to remember which three you used last time or which pets to use. So after you only have to like find a winning combination once. It's not, the only thing is, when trying to get the achievements of different pet families, it's not super helpful because you're always changing, for the achievement. But otherwise, it's really, really useful. It also totally redesigns the way your pet UI looks. It makes it much better looking. But it has an option to turn off that so you could just save teams, but it makes the pet UI look the same, which is a really nice feature. But it's called Rematch. It's really useful. Keystone Roll Call is fantastic if you're in a Mythic Plus focused guild or you have a lot of friends that you do dungeons with. It will make a list of everyone's key, that anyone that has this add-on also in your guild or in your friends list or in your party, and it'll show you the list so you don't have to ask anyone. You see their key and you also see their item level, by the way. Very useful. I use it in my guild. Yeah, it's like a must-have add-on for my guild, so I can easily see what keys everyone has, so we can figure out what we want to do. There are other add-ons, that kind of similar, but this one's really good because it's more focused on like people and it's more streamlined. Friend groups, amazing add-on. I discovered it by watching Quinn. Shout out to Quinn. And of course, shout out to the guy who made it. It lets you make your friends list subdivide into groups. So I'm doing exactly what Quinn did, and I had divided my friends up by like healers, tanks, DPS, and then on a glance, I can see if there are friendly DPS, friendly healers on to put a group together to do my M pluses. Very useful. Before, I would just put a note on, but then you gotta hover over everyone, and it's really annoying. This makes it so much easier. Like so it's like an obvious thing. It's like, why doesn't even Blizzard have this built in? Very useful, very useful. And of course, we talked about DBM and also GTFO. Very useful. You don't have to have it, but I find it very helpful on top of, something like DBM. It just makes like crazy sound effects whenever you're standing in fire. And not just fire. Like if you're standing in anything bad, it tells you. So it makes encounters, because sometimes you don't know, and it's hard to see what's happening. And DBM, it only works for like specific like for bosses and encounters and for like special abilities. GFTFO works differently. It just checks if you're standing in crap that hurts, and it works really well. And you could also like set a threshold for like how much damage for it to warn you, so you could ignore trivial damage. But it's very, very useful. And those are my add-ons. I actually do not use handy notes anymore. Um, I did use it to help me find all the individual little treasures in the Broken Shores, but I find it's mostly irrelevant now because a lot of these like zones, the treasure resets every day, and some treasures are like randomly placed, and handy notes seems to be kind of buggy, not buggy per se, but there's some weirdness with the way Blizzard updates its maps. So like things kind of move around, and also handy notes I read can cause like frame drops. Um, and honestly, I just don't need it. Like I was looking like, what do I really use handy notes for? Like I had handy notes that showed me like dungeon locations, but that was just for old content because now you see dungeon portals, on the map. And I had this cool handy notes that showed me like where the boats and portals are to like travel around the world. But I'm gonna have handy notes just for that. So handy notes was nice, and like if you use handy notes, I totally get it. Like I used it for a long time, but I was trying to cut. I was trying to cut add-ons. Um, there was a time I had freaking 70 or 75 add-ons, and I got myself down to 45 individual files now, which so go me. And I just don't feel like it wasn't worth. It just wasn't worth. So I got rid of handy notes. I also got rid of the garrison mission manager because garrisons don't really matter anymore, and there are definitely still there's still things to do in garrisons, but it's not like life or death current content, so yeah, I can manage that myself. And garrison mission manager is very heavy, just like the order hall one, so I dumped it. It was unnecessary, kind of useful but unnecessary. Um, and I had a few other sound effect mods, but I got rid of them because, again, trying to slim down, and certain sound effect mods get repetitive and they get silly. I had an add-on that helped me manage my mounts, like PetLeash, but for mounts. But it really was, I felt like I didn't really use it enough. And yes, you can have like a special button that will show you, like it will automatically choose a mount based on whether you're flying and what zone you're in. But I don't need it. I have all the mounts that I need just set in separate buttons, so I got rid of that. And overall, like these are the add-ons that made the cut. And trust me, I've been very rigorous in my testing. So these are the add-ons I use, and they're all really useful or really fun, and they work well. And most of them are lightweight. Um, the only ones that are really heavy are Auctionator, DBM, and Auctionator, DBM, and crap. Auctionator is really heavy, but I have to have it. DBM's heavy, but I have to have it. Oh, and the Order Hall Mission Manager is kind of heavy, but I have to have it. Everything else. Oh, NPC Scan. I wouldn't say it's heavy, but it is enough to mention. But again, it's just really useful. Though, like those are the only ones that really take resources, and they're all the ones that I really need. TMW actually is pretty light, and how much juice it takes kind of varies with how much buttons you have set up and how many things you have it checking for. But overall, it's kind of light, and everything else is super light. So all my add-ons together, and keep in mind that I have like my a lot of my add-ons I have set to run heavy. Uh, like they could be lighter. So all my add-ons together take 50 megabytes. 50. Uh, I actually was using 80 before, so I slimmed down a lot. Uh, so yeah, all my add-ons together gets like 50 megabytes of usage. Um, and if you fiddled with some of them, you could get it down probably to 45 easy, maybe even 40, 45 if you like ran them like the light way. So they should be all right for most people. And those are my add-ons, guys. Those are my add-ons. I hope that was helpful. Peace.